do this. Boom shakalaka. Hey, Teddy, how you doing, my friend? I get so excited off the intro, I'm just ready to go somewhere and have some fun.
That intro is longer than the show we're going to do.
Oh, yeah, well, you know. Hey, guys, by the way, if this is your first time here, welcome to Road Trip After Hours. I'm your host, Mike Davis. And, of course, that's WWE Hall of Famer, Mr. Teddy Long. And to be a part of the conversation, all you have to do is leave a comment, and we'll bring them up on the screen, and we'll answer your questions a little bit later in the show. But first, I want to get past some kind of recent news here in the wrestling first, Teddy, and that being that the Hall of Fame ticket prices for WWE. Have you seen this or heard anything about this?
No, I haven't.
All right, get this now. This is legit. A WWE Hall of Fame ticket package. This is what you get in that package. You get row 2, 3 seating, Hall of Fame stage access with a podium photo op, a private meet and greet with Paul Triple H Levesque and Lex Luger with a photo op, a premium gift, dedicated priority pass entrance, and professional on-location, on-site support staff, all for the low, low price of $8,500. Teddy.
Well, hey man, I imagine that they're making this kind of money if they're able to ask for it. And I guarantee you, man, there are going to be some people that's going to pay this. I don't care what you say. There's somebody that's going to pay this. So that's Jesus Christ, $8,000. Oh my God.
Almost $9,000. And yeah, look, it'd probably be 9 to 10,000 before you get out of there, because you got to pay for food, you got to pay for a hotel. You know, that's a big package. Now, if
and you got to pay for yourself to fly yourself there.
Yeah. I mean, you know, now get this. That's not the only bad one. Here's another one. Just came out yesterday, I believe it was. John Cena is going to receive a Lifetime Achievement Award during WrestleMania week in Las Vegas. To celebrate, On Location is offering an exclusive opportunity: a $25,000 per person lunch with John Cena at a 5-star restaurant on the Las Vegas Strip. $25,000.
Well, why would
Eddie,
you give
something's
somebody
wrong.
Why would you give somebody the Lifetime Achievement Award and you just turn him heel?
Well, yeah, that's another good question too. But I mean, let's talk about the money
Well,
first of all. Teddy, this is becoming
I
something.
take it back. This is entertainment now. My bad.
Yeah. You remind me of that. But yeah, but you know, Teddy, there does come a point as a fan where the pricing has become out of reach for a lot of people. You know, true wrestling fans who can't afford $25,000 to go get a special occasion with John Cena. First of all, that amount of money is absolutely ridiculous. And so is the $8,500, you know, for the Hall of Fame special package. But as you mentioned, there's going to be somebody who's going to pay that amount.
Yeah.
That's God. That just blows my mind.
Hey, man, God bless them, man. That's all I can say. You know what I mean? They're doing good. You know, business is on fire. So you better get it while you can.
Yep. Let's see. Cody Metcalf coming in saying, hey, buddy.
Yeah, I know Cody. Cody's a good friend of mine, man. Been knowing him for quite some time, and he's always stayed in touch with me. Cody, what's going on, player?
Dave Ruby in here as well. Long intros overrated. What up, man? Holla, Teddy.
Well, thank you, Dave. I really appreciate that. You're exactly right.
Yeah, somebody told me when we set this up, you got to have a little intro time like that because it builds people into the room before you get started. Like, oh, okay, whatever.
Yeah, boy, they can tell you anything. You know how you are.
Yeah, you know how I am.
Right. You're the only guy I know that would try and put a bag of M&Ms in alphabetical order.
Oh, yeah. All right. I want to get you. Just wait. It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah. Send that over to Sports Keto.
Oh, God love them. Let's see. I sent you a video earlier today. Did you get a chance to see this with Jon Moxley?
No, I didn't.
All right.
I had all this appointment. I've been ripping and running all day, man. I just did get here in time to get on the show, but I apologize. But let's go through it.
Yeah. Look, Jon Moxley, he had a match with Adam Copeland or Cope during last night's Dynamite. And during the match, Cope gave Moxley a backdrop onto a 2x4 with nails coming out of it.
Mm.
He actually, when he hit, got impaled by these nails. And that when he sat up, you could see him dug into his skin, and they had to twist it to help remove it because the way it had gone in, it was a gruesome, gruesome sight. Teddy, is there a point where we need to be careful of what we are showing on TV?
Well, yeah, I would have to say so. And the other thing, these are two phenomenal wrestlers. Okay, I worked with both of them. These guys, they don't need that. I could
No.
see some other guys, trying to, make a name for themselves or trying to get themselves, build themselves a little bit, doing stuff like that to get some attention. But Jon Moxley and Cole, they don't need no attention, man. These guys are phenomenal in the ring. So, it had to be their decision. I guess it's what they wanted to do. I guess management doesn't worry about whether the kids see it as being violent or what. So I just don't know what to tell you, Mac.
It's just so strange to me. I don't mind the hardcore. And if I'm being completely honest, when I was in the independents, a lot of my matches were matches that were revolved around having to, a lot of times, have some juice or, go through different things. I've been through flaming tables. I've been in cage matches. I've had concrete blocks knock me out.
Okay, well, now we know what's your condition. Now we know what's wrong.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not trying to put those kind of matches down, but I do think there is a point when you're on still the TV networks like TBS or TNT. I think you need to be aware of the fact that this is an access channel that can be accessed by the kids of a young age still. And I think you need to be careful what we do and don't see. Does that make sense, Teddy?
Yeah, it does make a lot of sense. Yeah, we have to be careful, because, right now and with this age and era, you got these kids out here already involved in nothing but violence, guns and stuff.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So let's don't add, fuel to the fire.
Yep. Dave Ruby asking, do you feel deathmatch style spots are done for the heat of the moment pop, or do you find some way to get over otherwise?
Well, I mean, sometimes those things are sometimes right at the heat of the moment. During those matches, you might think of something and you call it right there. So they're just brutal, and you just got to be careful and just try and protect yourself and protect the guy that you're working with, because they're really dangerous, especially those nails and stuff. Jesus, I think the only guy I ever seen do that was Sabu. And he, brother, him, he's a trooper. He went all out for it, man. And so it's, like I said, it's.
Yeah, I mean, if you go back even to the early days, Teddy, you think about how guys would perform in their matches, and when Juice got involved, no matter what it is, it was always kind of hardcore when it got to that point. But back in those days, if you saw hardcore, it wasn't on every show. It was only on a pay-per-view where you're blowing off the story.
Well, you save that. Something that spectacular, you save it. You don't put it on every show. Like you were just saying, you save it for your pay-per-view, or you save it for if it maybe a blow-off match. Yep. You would do that.
All right, Teddy, we're going to step away real quick, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to go to the listener mail and take anybody's question else that's in the room. If you're here, let everybody else know that we're here and we're live right now. We're going to take your questions, and Teddy's favorite question will receive a free Road Trip After Hours t-shirt. And by the way, you're also going to find Teddy and I in St. Louis very soon.
SICW FanFest 3 is almost here. Meet your favorite wrestling superstars. May 16th and 17th, St. Louis. Get up close and personal with wrestling legend. SICW.org. Come on, do it right now. SICW.org. Don't wait. Make plans May 16th and 17th at the Hilton St. Louis Airport. SICW FanFest 3.
pull one out. Those letters, I love those letters. Let's find out what you got to say.
Oh boy!
Mailman, mail today.
Okay, Teddy, here we go. Our very first question is from Eric on X, who wants to know, how was it working with John Laurinaitis during the People Power storyline?
Oh, I didn't have any problem working with him at all. You know what I mean? I know how to play the game, and that's all I'm gonna say.
I got you. And if you know Teddy, and if you can go back on some of our other shows, and he can make you very clear how he feels about certain individuals. Dave Ruby, I'd rather bump.
It ain't about how I feel about them. It's how they feel about me.
Oh, well, true. Dave Ruby saying, I'd rather bump to an empty 5-gallon water bottle than take straight nails to the back any day. Yeah, amen.
Dave Ruby, I'm with you, player.
Trevor in Alaska asked, you once played a limo driver for Ric Flair. How did that come about?
I don't know whose idea that was. At the time, I think Kevin Sullivan was part of the booking, so I'm sure Kevin probably had something to do with it. But I think it was probably Kevin Sullivan, and maybe I don't think Bischoff was involved in, but it had to be Kevin.
Was that when you had
Eddie
Doom?
Gilbert.
You were managing Doom at the time?
Yeah, I was managing them at the time, and what we did, we had if one of my team members lost a match, then I'd have to drive Ric Flair. I'd have to be a chauffeur for a week. So we lost the match, and so that's how I ended up being a chauffeur. But then when we got him in the car, I took him to another spot instead of where I was supposed to, and then we dragged him out of the car, and Butch and Ron beat him up.
They jumped him. Oh, good.
Yeah.
Any stories that you can remember from filming all that?
We had a great time doing it. We did it up around Lake Lanier, and they had rented a boat. I was on the boat there, and that was Flair's boat supposedly, and so I was checking the boat out because all this stuff was going to be mine. So, man, I tell you what, people may not believe this, but something happened there. I think I didn't have enough clothes or something. But do you know I had to get up that next morning, drive all the way to Atlanta, pick up some clothes stuff, and come all the way back to Charleston, South Carolina, because that's where we did it to finish filming that.
Wow.
Because back in the day, everything wasn't handy like it is now.
No. Shoot Taylor. Hey, Shoot, how you doing, brother? Shoot Taylor, by the way, for those of you who don't know who he is, Shoot Taylor is an independent performer, wrestler, especially in the Georgia area. One of the best in this area. Teddy, I know you agree. But
yeah, man.
Shoot is asking. Go ahead.
Yeah, I had a chance to work with Shoot there when he first broke in at face-to-face wrestling in Georgia. You were a big part of that, and what an outstanding kid. And he's tough. He's a Kurt Angle. He's a real tough guy. So I watch him all the time too, and he does everything he can, to try to keep himself out there. He's learning the business a little bit. So I just don't understand why, somebody hadn't picked him up, because he's a great talent. So like I tell him, don't give up, man. Just keep doing what you're doing. God's going to put you in the right place at the right time.
I do believe there are certain people, and I've seen this over the years, Teddy, where certain people can be too nice. And Shoot Taylor is one of those people he's too nice. Genuinely nice guy. Yes.
And that don't get you nowhere in this business.
Unfortunately not.
Yeah. If you just want to be a completely bad person, then next thing you know, you're the world champion.
Yep. All right. But his question here, how much money did Teddy make on selling that Viagra to the boys back in the day? Well, yes, I love you guys. Yeah, we love you too, brother.
I made enough to buy a car.
Yeah.
No, not really. You know what, man? We just had a great time back then, man, and so it wasn't really no money to be made. But I sold and we made money, and then after I ended up in wrestler's court, I couldn't sell no more, so I was banned from selling Viagra.
Okay, let me ask you a question, because time limit's up now. But did you keep selling Viagra under the table still while you're there?
Of course I did.
Of course. Cody Metcalf asking, do you miss WWE, Teddy?
Cody, I tell you what, things have turned around and they're moving so fast right now. You know what I mean? I'm just glad to be at home and just to be able to just sit and watch the product. I'm not sitting at home worried about no job or nothing like that. I ain't, if they, like I said, if they call me for something, they need me, fine, I'll go. If they don't, don't bother me because I'm over it.
Yeah.
So, no, I really, all I miss, probably that travel.
Yeah.
Golly, and it's worse now because I've had a chance to go to some of the events, man, and so that's what I don't want. I don't want no more of that traveling. I'm just happy to be sleeping in my own bed every night. If WWE calls me to do something, I'll be happy to do it. If not, I don't care, and I just enjoy doing what I'm doing, going out doing the signings and the meet and greets, and that's good enough for me.
All right, let's see. We have Shayna on Facebook who wants to know, what do you think can be done to bring more excitement to WrestleMania this year?
Well, I don't think nothing right now. Unless they bring some big surprise guest. I tell you what might be real good if all of a sudden we see Stone Cold Steve Austin walk out. I think that'd be good for WrestleMania.
I do think that there have been some hints that he may show up in the storyline, and I believed those rumors at first, but I haven't heard much about Rock and his involvement at WrestleMania. I think it would have to make sure that Rock was there so that Stone Cold can be what the Undertaker was last year for the Rock.
Yeah,
that's about the right place for him to be.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Let's see. Shayna on Facebook. She's already asked you this. Jackson in Tampa asked, if Shane McMahon were to start his own wrestling company, would you work for him?
Of course I would.
Do you think that Shane could run a company like his dad, a successful wrestling company, with his dad out of the picture, if his dad was not available?
Well, he knows exactly what his dad knows. He's raised in this business from a little baby boy all the way up to a grown man. So if he don't know nothing, then nobody knows nothing.
Yep.
And I think he would be, a little milder too. He's a little low key guy. He's a low key person. And I think he'd be great. You could get along with Shane.
Do you think that Vince, being as intimidating as he was, could have hurt the creativity of WWE?
Well, I don't know. That's a hard question, because I think this, Vince had to be like he had to be. This man, I say this all the time, there's $1 billion operation here. One word could cause him to lose everything that he's got. So you got to stay on top of your game and you got to watch what's going on. And so I think Vince was just, protecting his business and protecting his interests or whatever, and the company. So like I said, it didn't bother me about him being rough. If I did something, then I'm going to bring it on, Vince. Get on me, because that's what I need.
Did you see people who were just actually terrified to have to go speak with Vince?
Oh my God, yeah, because when you went to go to see Vince, you knew it was a come to Jesus meeting.
Gotcha. I mean, could you just walk into his office? Was that possible?
No, you don't walk in there. You knock on that door.
Yeah. Did you ever have a come to Jesus meeting with Vince?
I had one, but it wasn't in his office. It was in the gorilla position. One night I went out and I went back to do the dog match, and the dog match was Randy Orton and somebody. I can't remember. But anyway, I went to introduce Randy, and we were in Randy's hometown in St. Louis. And so I'm just, me and Randy, we buddies, we friends. So we just, I go back in, get ready to introduce him. I call him the Legend Killer. He's the Viper. I give him, all of his titles, So I think I'm doing the right thing. So I come back and I'm walking back through Gorilla, and Vince is standing up and he's beckoning for me like this. He's telling me. And so and I know that I'm saying to myself now, God, what did I do? What did I do? So he looks at me and he says, you in business for yourself out there? Ooh. I said, no. And then he says to me, he says, well, he lives here. They know he's the Viper. They know he's the Legend Killer. They know what. So what are you? And so I just caught myself so we wouldn't have to draw it out. And I just said to him, and I was being honest. I said, sir, I'll be straight up with you. I was playing. I said, but I'll guarantee you this, that will never happen again. I'll never play again. And he looked at me and he says his last words with me, yeah, you're better than that. And I walked away, but he learned me right there. Don't play, period. Business 24/7.
Yep. Shoot Taylor asking the question, is kayfabe dead in 2025?
Kayfabe died in 2020
Unfortunately.
when the WWE went to World Wrestling Entertainment.
Yeah, I hated to see that. Although I do believe that there is a way to maintain kayfabe to a point where you can still work the fans where they think they're getting real
Well,
new.
the professional guys, that've been around like me and myself, we know when it's time to turn kayfabe on and to turn it off.
Yeah.
But like I never forget, God rest his soul, Pat Patterson, man, he was a great guy. Me and Pat joked around and had a lot of fun. And he would one time we was at WrestleMania, and he just stopped me and we was talking, and he's, God damn it, Teddy, look at all this. There's people from everywhere was in the back. People we didn't even know, we never seen before, but they was all over and they're all the boys back there together. So that's what I'm saying. They killed kayfabe a long time ago.
Do you think? But you do believe though that you can still work the fans though, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Tabitha, who was the one person you didn't enjoy working with, whether it be just you didn't get together or gel together, or you just didn't like them?
Well, I didn't have nobody that I just didn't like. I had people that I didn't want to work with because they were hard to work with. They wanted to do all this stuff, and then they wanted to have me do stuff that didn't make any sense. You know what I mean? So that's the kind of, problem that I had a lot of time. People trying to get me to do something that didn't mean nothing. I'll give you an example. When I was managing, heel manager, I remember my agent went to come to, and we had Jackie Moore working in that match that night. And the agent come and he says, well, Jackie's going to walk around on your side of the ring and she's going to slap you. So I'm looking at him. I said, slap me for what? Oh, man, Teddy, come on. I said, well, and then the way I didn't get out of it, but the way I let him know that I know better, I said, well, I tell you what, Vince always told me he didn't want nobody putting their hands on me. So let's go to Vince. And if Vince tells me that Jackie Moore can slap me, then I'll do it.
Yep.
So so that's old heat. I've had that for quite a while, too.
Herb Simmons popping in saying, good evening, gentlemen. Hey, Herb, we were just talking about SICW a minute ago. As a matter of fact, Dave Ruby coming in. Guys, I can't wait for SICW Fan Fest 3 in St. Louis, as I'll be bringing the Falls Count Everywhere podcast on that Saturday. Dave, I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to stop by and see you while we're there, too. I think I just popped in real quick last year. Teddy, I think you were on that show last year, weren't you?
Yeah, I was there last year, and I'm glad to see Herb checking in with us, man. And once again, I'll get a chance to thank him when I get there. But they give me that Lifetime Achievement Award, and I certainly really appreciate that. And like I said, there ain't too many guys get that, and so that makes me feel pretty proud.
Teddy, we got a name association, and we also have one other thing I want to bring up. Who should be on the Mount Rushmore of wrestling managers? Now, according to the Sportster, this is the top 10 of the managers. I'm going to see what you think about this. First of all, at number 10, we had Skandor Akbar. At number 9, Paul Bearer. At number 8, the Grand Wizard. Number 7, Jimmy Hart. At number 6, Captain Lou Albano. At 5, we have Classy Freddie Blassie. Number 4, Gary Hart. Number 3, Paul Heyman. Number 2, Jim Cornette. And number 1, Bobby the Brain Heenan. Is there somebody that you think may be missing from this list?
No, not really.
You can't think of another manager that maybe should have been mentioned in this list?
Don't worry about it, man.
But let me ask you, do you think that's because you were more known as the manager of SmackDown, the general manager, and not a
Well, here's the thing. When you're talking about all those guys, all those are great guys. I was just waiting on you to call Gary Hart's name. I'm like, you can't leave Gary out. But you had Paul Heyman in there, Hart, Skandor, Akbar. All those guys are tremendous managers. So what I believe is back then, people didn't even know me as being a manager. I think I was refereeing more then than being a manager. So that's why I'm saying I don't bother me by not being in there. People didn't even know me then.
Yeah, I really think that is the case. I think it's that most people know you as the SmackDown general manager. I mean, they know you had a history with being an official, but that's who everybody knows you as. That's the crazy fun-loving Teddy Long on Saturday. I mean, on Friday night SmackDowns. And
Yeah.
that's why I was kind of questioning that. But but I agree. I think that besides the fact that you were probably one of the best managers of your time with Ron and with Butch, you just something that stuck
Yeah.
out. All right, real.
And that's another thing I was going to mention too. To some of the fans, if they might think this is worth talking about, I can understand why we haven't kind of pitched to get Ron Doom in the WWE Hall of Fame.
I'm surprised that hasn't happened yet. Now, because Butch worked in WWE too, right?
Yeah, he was the natural,
Yeah.
Butch Reed.
So, I mean, I don't understand unless there's some real heat, but I would think over time, I've seen people go in that have had all kinds of heat, and it doesn't matter if they're still in the WWE Hall of Fame.
Right. Well, like I said, I don't know what to tell you. Let me clear myself. I'm not plugging it so I can be there with him. I don't have to be there. Okay, so let's get that straight.
But until you said it, again, that is one of the major tag teams of its time. It'd be hard pressed
Yeah.
not to have them into the Hall of Fame. All right, so let's see. Herb Simmons popping back in. Herb, your message was just there. There it is. Nobody can holler like
You said-
Teddy.
And you can believe that, player.
All right, we do have a few more minutes here. If you have any questions, make sure to get them in before we get out of here. He will pick one of these questions to be his favorite question, and that question will get a free Road Trip After Hours t-shirt. I just sent out a bunch of those just the other day. All right, let's see here. Name association, real fast. Gerald Briscoe.
Oh man, outstanding! One of the great. I'll always, and I know I told you this, Mac, but I remember when I first went to New York there with Vince. Briscoe pulled me off to the side. And he says to me, he said, "The boss loves you. Don't fuck this up." Those were his words. So when I went in the Hall of Fame, I found Gerald and I went right to him. I said, "Hey, I didn't fuck this up."
Let's see, Herb is, by the way, yes, Herb, I'm glad you said this. Butch is going into the St. Louis Hall of Fame this year. So that's really cool.
Well, very good,
Yeah.
very good. Thank you, Herb Simmons, and I'm glad that I'll be there to be a part of it. Thank you so much.
Let's see, the next name on this name association, Pat Patterson.
Oh, great guy, man. And a lot of guys couldn't joke around with Pat, but I could joke around with him and he would say little comments to me and I'd say little stuff back to him. But that meant a lot to me, for Pat Patterson, a guy like that to take the time, and talk to me. And he told me one time, they called me back for something. I went to Raw or something. And when I went out, this was Pat, I swear to God, I went out and I come back. I got such a huge pop. He looked at me, he said, "They really missed you."
Yes.
That's what he said to me. I never forget that. He said they really wanted to see you.
Randy Savage, next name on the list.
Oh man, had a chance to hang with Randy before he was Randy Macho Man, and I think I told you a story about that time that they took the man's stuff. Him and Dick Slater.
No, tell this.
Did I
think you
give
may have
that
told this on a
story?
different thing, but I don't think we've told it here. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, one time we went over to this spot to get some weed, and so when we got in the car, well, I took him over there. I'm just hanging around the TV station, then just running. So we got over there, and so the guy come and got in the car with us. This was true story. It's me, Randy Savage, and Dick Slater. So the
What
guy
guy are we talking about? What guy's getting in the car?
I don't know. He was the guy that was selling the
Okay,
drugs.
I got you now.
So the guy, we went to buy some weed. So we got over there, the guy gets in the car with us to bring the weed. Well, when he gets in the car, he comes out of his pocket and he says, "Hey, not only do I got weed, I got this." So he has this big bag of cocaine in his hand. So the next thing I know, I'm sitting back with, Savage is in the front, Slater's in the back, I'm in the back. Savage turns around and he nods his head. Now, I didn't know then, but I know what that meant then. He gave Dick the office. Next thing I know, Slater hooks the guy right in the sleeper, puts him to sleep right in his car, and we take all of his stuff.
Oh my God! And of course,
that's a true
I bet
story.
you never went back to that spot again.
Oh, well, I couldn't go back. I lived there. I could never go back over there.
Oh God. Okay, we'll end it there because we are out of time. And Dave Rubio.
I met Randy after we did that. It had been many, many years ago, and I met Randy, and he made me tell that story to everybody. "Come here, brother. Tell them what we did over there."
Did he remember it as well?
Yeah, God, when I brought that up to him, he popped. Oh God, yeah, tell him, brother. He made me tell everybody that story.
All right, Teddy, we're at the end of the show. You got to pick somebody, a question for this evening that you like the best, and we'll get a T-shirt to them.
Well, I'm gonna pick Cody Metcalf. He had several questions there that I liked, you know.
Very
so
cool.
we got to give Cody a
Cody,
shirt.
all you got to do is contact me right here on Facebook if that's where you are, or through YouTube. You'll get my contact information there and shoot it over to me, and I'll take care of everything for you. Teddy, we are out of time. I've enjoyed it. Boy, this went by fast tonight.
Yeah, well, we really pretty busy tonight. We got people questioning coming in, man, and thank everybody for continuing to watch us and support us, and hope our numbers will get bigger. So thank you, everybody. Thank you so
Our
much.
numbers will get bigger if we take any of that Viagra you keep selling.
See there? See what